Welcome to Commercial Real Estate Unfiltered, the podcast that takes the mystery out of commercial real estate and makes it accessible for everyone. I'm Caleb David, a broker, investor, and community builder with over a decade of experience helping businesses and individuals bring their visions to life. Here we break down the market, share expert insights, and talk about the opportunities that commercial real estate creates for businesses and communities alike. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just real, unfiltered conversations that empower you to navigate the space with confidence. So whether you're an investor, a business owner, or simply curious about commercial real estate, welcome. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to the Commercial Real Estate Unfiltered podcast. I'm really thrilled to have a guest today, and we're going to be talking about something that's important to a lot of people. And post-COVID has changed a lot of things in the office market and flexible market spaces. And Mark Goldfinger is the general manager for North America at Mindspace, where he leads operations across major U.S. markets, including New York, Miami, and San Francisco. He's a former employee at WeWork. He helped scale the company globally, launching key markets across the US, Europe, and Asia. He's also helped us grow a startup from 4 employees to over 200, reaching $175 million in annual revenue. At Mindspace, he continues to shape the future of flexible workspaces, attracting top talent and brands, including Shark Tank's Damon John, to innovative spaces like Mindspace Wynwood. Welcome to the show, Mark. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Caleb. I appreciate it. I feel like if I'm ever having a day where I don't think I accomplished much that day, I just want to listen to you do that introduction, and I'm like, no,
Absolutely.
I can do this. I can get this
You
done.
can get through it. You can do it.
I can get through it. No, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, maybe share a little bit about how you got into the WeWork space and this flexible office space and kind of a little bit of your background and journey and story so they can give a little bit of context and background for our listeners.
Yeah, happy to. So I grew up in Manhattan, and I got a really lucky opportunity when I was in high school to work at an advertising agency where we did out-of-home sales. So selling billboards, the signs on tops of taxi cabs. If we really date ourselves and we go back to when we had the phone, like public phone booth, if you remember, there was an advertisement on the sides of the public phone booth. It was an incredible firm. I was really lucky to have some great mentors. And it was the first time where I really got to understand that when you're selling, a good salesperson isn't actually selling you something, they're trying to problem solve.
Yes.
And they're trying to figure out like why you came to them and what they need and what you need and how what I have as the salesperson is going to solve that problem. And ever since I like learned that philosophy, I just became in love with sales.
Yeah.
So I graduated from Hunter College with my BA in economics. I then quickly went to London to get my MBA in international business. I always wanted to do something abroad. And then after grad school, I came back, worked for another ad agency where I ran like their strategy and operations for a little shy of 2 years. And then I got really lucky and got an opportunity to join WeWork as one of the first 300 employees.
Wow.
The role was an expansion lead, and it was to live basically on an airplane and out of your suitcase. And every 3 months, you went to a new market to help launch the market from a sales community and marketing perspective.
Wow.
I was 25 at the time, and I was like, this sounds phenomenal. My girlfriend at the time did not think that. That's okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's rightfully. And I quickly started in New York. I trained for about a month in New York. And then I had the option to go to either London or to LA. Being the New Yorker and the East Coaster that I am, and the fact that I just lived in London for a year, I was like, I don't want to go to LA, and I definitely want to go back to London.
So much culture.
Went to so much culture, and you're just like really 2 hours from everything.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought, super cool. Went to London, helped us grow our sales team from 3 people to 20 plus, helped us scale from 4 buildings to 30 plus, and then ended up just hiring a replacement for myself. And then I ended up helping to run our international expansion and all of our pre-sales. Ended up opening up a dozen different countries for WeWork. Found myself on an org chart as the head of sales for Greater China in 2018.
Wow.
At one point, spent some time in India, Singapore, going around Southeast Asia. And then ultimately in 2019, I decided that it was just, I had been on the road for enough.
Yeah.
And I needed to really like move myself back to the US. I had some family things go on in early 2018. And I think I just put my head into work for all of 2018. It was like, I just need to work and like ignore reality, which was good at the time, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
So I ended up moving back to New York in 2019, worked for WeWork for another 2 years. helping run our global expansion. And then post the failed IPO in August, September of 2019, I stayed and just worked with the executive team to fill holes where they had issues within the sales team. I did that for about a year. And then I was like, you know what? I'm ready for something different. I had been at
Yeah.
WeWork for 6 years at this time. A really good friend, old boss and mentor of mine was starting a startup in the e-commerce aggregator
Mm.
space where you acquired companies that were sold on Amazon
I
and
see.
then provided an exit strategy for the founder and then scaled the company 20-30% on and off Amazon year over year.
Wow.
Think of a mini version of Unilever or Procter and Gamble. I had the chance to join as employee 4 or 5, helped run all of our business development, partnerships, marketing, helped with the hiring, driving the culture, scaled it to about 200 people and 175 million in revenue, which was an
Wow.
unbelievable learning experience for me, especially because I'm not an M&A person. Like my
Yeah.
brain doesn't think like that. So
Mm.
I got to really have a front row seat at how M&A works. Thankfully, I wasn't part of the modeling, but it was really cool to watch. And then I did that for about 3 years. And at that point, interest rates were starting to go up. We were slowing down on our acquisitions. We
Mm.
were focusing more on the e-commerce side of the business, which was 100% the right move.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't necessarily where like I really wanted to be. And I still had a passion for the real estate world.
Mm.
After all, I spent 6 years at WeWork working 18-hour days, 20 days a week, what it felt like
Yeah.
that doesn't just disappear from your inside. Like it's
Right.
fully ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to leave, and Mindspace reached out to me that they were looking to hire a new general manager for North America. And I laughed and I looked at my wife and I was like, do I really want to go back to co-working? And if I do, like, how do I not go back to WeWork? Like, how
Yeah.
do I do it somewhere else?
Yeah.
And she encouraged me, as she always does, to take the interview. And I ended up going through, I think it was like 10 or 12 rounds of interviews.
Wow.
And every interview felt like I was already part of the team and part of the company. And we were talking sales and strategy and expansion and what we can do. And I met our CEO in person. I met my boss, who was going to be I met the person who would be my boss at the time, also in person in Miami. And I had an hour scheduled with each of them. They flew me down there, and both meetings went 3+ hours. I almost
Wow.
missed my flight. And I realized just like how much I love this world, and I saw that that Mindspace really believed that there was a lot of untapped potential for us in the US.
Yeah.
And I loved being able to be like, I can have the opportunity to try
Yeah.
and prove that to them.
Yeah.
Right. I think in your career, any chance you get where it's like yours to lose, it just becomes a really fun opportunity because
Yeah.
it's like you don't think anything is supposed to be given to you. You're like, no, I'm going to work really hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to push a team. I'm going to drive us forward. And I joined Mindspace about a year and a half ago now. And here we are. We have 6 locations around the US. As you mentioned, we have one in Williamsburg in New York. We have two in Miami. We have Philadelphia. We have Washington, D.C. And then we have one in San Francisco.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Any plans of expanding into the Colorado market?
So I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think the Denver market's a really interesting one. I actually opened up two of our locations in Denver with WeWork,
Yep.
Lohi and Union Station at the
Yep.
Triangle Building.
Yep.
And it's an incredible market.
Mm.
The entrepreneurs across
Yeah.
Denver, there's definitely a need for it. I get worried sometimes. Is it too tapped?
Mm.
And do you have enough players already? I don't want to
Yeah.
just be another player
Right.
there. I
Right.
think for me right now, when I think about like Mindspace expansion, first and foremost, we need to plant a flag in Manhattan.
Mm.
We're a global company. We have close to 2 million square feet of commercial real estate.
Wow.
We have 50 locations worldwide, but we're missing that Manhattan one. And being a Manhattan born and bred general manager that I am, I'm
Yes.
pushing for New
Yeah.
York City. So hopefully soon, but I think there's a lot of untapped potential across
Yeah.
the US. So
Yeah.
it's too early to say definitely no.
Yeah.
And it definitely could be on the horizon.
Yeah, that's exciting. So when you were with WeWork and as well now with Mindspace, what did it look like for you in the commercial real estate transaction? Are you a broker yourself, or did you hire somebody to help and then you just put the deal together?
Yeah, so I think I'm not a broker. I didn't get my brokerage license. It's definitely something I've considered just because I
Yeah.
think that understanding the knowledge even further will always help.
Yeah.
We had an entire real estate team that managed all of the deals. I really stayed on the post signing of the
Yep.
deal
Yep.
WeWork, it was really just my job to make sure that when we opened a new location, we opened at 80% occupancy.
Mhm.
On the Mindspace side, one of the things I love is our CEO and myself have spent a ton of time kind of being our own real estate team. So I'm building all the relationships with
Yeah.
external brokers, whether that's at Cushman, CBRE,
Mhm.
JLL, et cetera, Newmark, or finding boutique brokers to help us find buildings.
Yeah.
And then I'm working with our corporate strategy team to work through our own modeling and underwriting
Yeah.
to try and figure out what deals make the most sense for us. And then I'm working with the brokers to negotiate them and take it from there.
Yeah. Do you guys typically lease or do you guys typically look for buildings to purchase? How does that work in the flex office space?
Absolutely great question. So typically we do leases.
Yep.
I would say 99% of our buildings and across the co-working ecosystem are usually going to be some form of leases. Now that could be a traditional lease. It could also be a management agreement. It can be a hybrid deal or of some revenue structure. But every once in a while, we entertain the idea of this like
Yeah.
operator own and operate.
Yep.
And there are a few markets that I can't share, but there are a few markets that we're currently looking at this model, and I think it could be really exciting for us.
That's really cool. I'm always curious because that's a very different world than what I do day in and day out. So it's just
Yeah, of
really
course.
to be able to learn more about that and share that knowledge with other people is important. So what did you, because you were at WeWork during the COVID era, right?
It was.
Okay, so how did that kind of affect the business model?
Yeah. So look, I think it's COVID was awful. It was not good for anyone.
Right.
Obviously, it was horrific. I
Yeah.
think the one good thing that came out of it was I met my wife.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that aspect of it. But from a co-working perspective, I think if anything, it accelerated the need for executives to understand how important flexible office space
Mhm.
really is,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
showed that people don't need to be in an office Monday through Friday,
Right.
8 to 5 or 9 to 6, whatever hours are that people are working, that you can have this hybrid reality.
Yeah.
You can use Zoom like we're using right now to do
Yeah.
a call and still feel a personal connection. It's not the same as if you and I were
Right.
sitting down at a table in person, but we can still build that bond.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, executives saw that as wait, I don't need to have 50,000 square feet of
Right.
real estate on my P&L. I don't
Yeah.
want that overhead cost, and
Yeah.
rightfully. So if I could take my team and put them on a schedule where teams A, C, and E come in Monday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Friday, and teams B and D come in Tuesday, Thursday, or vice versa,
Yeah.
and I can have like half that space and I don't need to deal with setting it up. I don't need to deal with the amenities there,
Yeah.
but I can also make it a place where like employees are excited to come into the
Yeah.
office.
Yes.
All of a sudden now I go saving money on my overhead and looking like a hero because now my employees are like really excited to come
Yeah.
into their office.
Yeah. So you're giving people a little bit of ownership of when they come in, when they don't, and still retaining that team feel. And I don't know if how it is at Mindspace, but I've found that the landlords that are doing deals and switching people to this more flexible office space setup are having really good success. Granted, they're having to
Yeah,
put a lot of money in to renovate, but I feel like the ones who aren't doing this are going to be the ones who are going to be left behind because I don't foresee
correct.
a day where everybody's back at the office 5 days a week across the board.
I That's a tough one. I think the majority of companies outside of the top 100,
Mhm.
I agree with you. I don't
Yeah,
think companies will really have their employees come in 5 days a week
yeah,
always. I think a lot of companies are starting to ask for employees to come in at least 4 times a week, at least
mhm,
3 times a week, if not 4 times a week now.
yeah,
And then they're flexible on a one work from home day so that you can be with the family and travel or whatever you have to
mhm,
do. But it's not only on that aspect. I think it's also on the fact that if you don't know how many people are going to be coming in on any given day, you don't know how much real estate to purchase, to
right.
lease.
Fair,
So then
fair.
all of a sudden you end up leasing too much and you have this high overhead.
Yeah,
And then you're also paying for your internet. And then you're paying for coffee and tea and
mhm,
snacks
yeah,
and all these additional amenities. When you come into a mind space, our whole goal and what I think helps separate or differentiates us from the competitors is when you walk into Mindspace, you feel like you're at a second home. It's like the community manager greets you at the front desk and they know who you are. Hey
yeah,
Caleb, how was the weekend? Did
yeah,
you get out on the bike yesterday? Did you go for that
yeah,
hike that you wanted? How was your friend's birthday? Then you come into your space everything is set up for you. You have your desk, your Wi-Fi, you can print everything you need.
Mm.
You want coffee, tea, water, etc. Then also a lot of our buildings, like we're very particular on the types of buildings that we lease out. So in our Williamsburg location where I currently am, we have a state-of-the-art gym that our members can use for $25 a month. That's
Oh,
unheard of
that's
in New York
unheard of.
City.
Wow.
And then you have this beautiful rooftop with the skyline of Long Island City,
Mm.
Midtown, Lower Manhattan, Wall Street, and East Brooklyn. So
Mm.
you can go up there and do work. So all of a
Yes.
sudden now it's not just your office space, but you have this beautiful amenity where it's like
Yes.
the employees, you know what, like I don't mind commuting 25 minutes to the office because when I get there, everything is there.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we focus a ton on building community.
Yeah.
All right, maybe you're in your 15-person office, or maybe you're a little bit smaller company, you're in your 5-person office,
Yeah.
but then you sit out in the common area to have lunch and you see someone and you start talking to them. Hey, I like your shirt. Where'd you get that? What do
Yeah.
you do? Oh, that's cool. This
Yeah.
is what I do. Today, the US Open is going on, right? One of the largest tennis tournaments in
Yeah.
the world. And today we had a US Open little like happy hour.
Yeah.
So there were cheeses, charcuterie board, some drinks, and then we had the projector down and people were watching the Taylor Fritz match.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all these employees from different companies are sitting
Yeah.
at the same table working while looking at the match, and they're cheering with each other, they're meeting new
Yeah.
people. It really just brings everyone together. So
Yeah.
like it just everything becomes enhanced.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of synergy and connection. And I think, especially post COVID, people we crave that connection,
Pray that, of course. We're
and
humans.
absolutely. And I think it was just so brutal that I think we still have PTSD
I
from
agree.
that. So what are some of the trends that you're seeing that you think are going to start shaping the next phase
Yeah,
of?
look, I think more and more people are starting to return to the office. I think that is a no-brainer, right? We've already seen it with the large Fortune 500, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook. They all want their employees in at least 4 days a week. I think more and more you're going to start to see heads of corporate real estate or CFOs starting to stop taking long-term leases, and they're going to want to find flexible spaces
Ah,
for their employees. And then I also think you're going to start seeing more of this, like what I would call like remote distribution
mm,
offices, like satellite offices
okay.
versus one centralized office.
Yeah.
If I can have different offices for my team members so that they don't have to commute too far, then maybe they're still willing to go into the office more than if they had to commute 2 hours each way.
Yeah.
And in order for me to find that and to have everything with one master like invoice and one partner, you need companies like Mindspace
Yeah.
to be able to build that portfolio.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I can definitely see that shift happening as well. And obviously, we're in an age of technology. AI is changing so much for so many people.
Yeah.
But what role do you think that technology and what Mindspace provides, along with the design that you've already touched on a little bit, how do you think that how that plays into the workforce innovation?
It's a scary question. So I think the way in which we could connect our members better with each other will allow us to give that much better of a service and to allow us to really differentiate ourselves from other operators out there.
Yeah.
If we can leverage AI within our Mindspace app
Yeah.
to for it to pick up and be like, wait a second, Caleb, you do podcasting, and Mark, you do technical support, or I'm making something up here. Then all of a sudden, maybe something pings you
Yeah.
when you're in New York, and you're like, hey, one of the Mindspace members in Williamsburg actually does IT support. If you ever need help, you
Yes.
should reach out to them.
Yes.
And if there are different ways for us to connect our
Yeah.
members
Yeah.
so that our members could work together and more importantly, grow their business,
Yeah.
that's an incredible opportunity. Like, why would an entrepreneur not want to come into our
Yes.
space so that they can grow their business
Yeah.
further?
Yeah.
And then from a design perspective, look, I'm sure AI will help in some way with our fit outs, help curate and design the space. But right now we have an incredible design team in-house
Yeah.
that really does an amazing job of when you walk into a mind space, no matter where you are when you get into a mind space, because you just have this sense of
Yeah.
belonging to it.
Yeah.
But also each space is like very much designed for the specific location that it's in.
Yeah.
So in Williamsburg, you walk in, it's this huge common area, this like loft type, exposed red brick, high ceiling, cool, not graffiti artwork, but like cool, trendy
Yeah.
artwork that you're like, I would love to
Yeah.
have that in my house, but I don't know if I'm cool enough to pull it off look. And then, where if you go to one of our locations in like the center of Berlin, it's a little bit more like buttoned up. It's still like casual. You still feel welcome there,
Yeah.
but you're in the heart of Berlin, right? You're still there in the center of the financial world or financial district. So it's like you're going to have that sense of feeling there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I think something you touched on that really struck me is that sense of belonging. And I think in this day and age, and especially with technology being the way that it is, if you can use design and technology to connect people. And I've had my own real estate firm for the last 6 years, but I recently made the switch over to Keller Williams. And
Okay.
that's the thing that really brought me in there is that sense of belonging, the connection, and to be able to now I'm connected with hundreds of agents all over the country
Right.
that I just met at an event in San Antonio. And it's like now we have this new synergy and this new ability to be like, oh, now I know somebody in North Carolina that I can refer business to and still make money. And I think
Correct.
that keeping that the synergy between your members is definitely something that stands out to me a lot. And I mean, in your intro, when I was trying to make you feel good, you talked about how that you guys were able to, Mindspace was able to attract Damon John. Talk to me
Yeah.
about that.
Damon's phenomenal. He is what an incredible story, what an incredible entrepreneur, what an incredible human to have in our space. We're like really lucky that we were able to lock this partnership in. He's based in Miami. He does a ton of different businesses that are focused around wellness, health, creativity. And he saw that Mindspace also has very much that like same like method or the same like thesis of like how we want to be portrayed. We really want to focus on wellness. We really want to focus
Yeah.
on like creativity and giving back to entrepreneurs. And we were able to meet and we talked to him a little bit and like we toured him around the space and we're like, we want you to have an office here. Let's find ways to collaborate. And
Yeah.
him and his team moved into one of our suites in our Wynwood location, probably about a year, actually just under a year ago now.
Wow.
And they have completely done an amazing job in their suite. They have all these different inventions and different businesses that Damon's looking at. We actually hosted a pitch night where we had 5 member companies
Mm.
have the opportunity to pitch to 3 VC funds where Damon John wasn't necessarily one of the judges, but he was the moderator. So he led the event and he was able to ask questions. And all of a sudden, you have an entrepreneur who's been hustling their whole life to
Yeah.
try and build the company be able to go on stage and speak to Damon John and
Wow.
have Damon like critique their business, not to make fun of it, but to like really
Right.
be like, wow, these are the holes that I'm missing from a true expert who took a brand from nothing and scaled it to everything.
Yeah.
It's been incredible to partner with him.
That's incredible. And I just love that it seems to be this culture of forward thinking, that health and wellness factor as well, that I think is so needed in our world right now.
100%.
Yeah. And how do you get a 5-person company in? All of a sudden they're meeting people, they're part of the Mindspace family, and then all of a sudden business starts to grow. How do you guys help businesses scale that are
Yeah.
within your spaces?
So the love it, right? So the whole point of Mindspace is that it's flexible and agile working space.
Mhm.
You could come in and you can sign for month to month, you could sign for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, etc. Obviously, if you sign for a year and within 3 months you need to grow to a larger size, we're not going to stop you. We're going to
Right.
encourage that, of course.
Yeah.
But our offices are designed to become flexible.
Mhm.
So I'm currently sitting in an empty 7-person office right now, but we have members who were in a 7-person office. They needed to grow to 15. We didn't have a 15 available. So we actually knocked down the wall to the
Mm.
right of them and created that office for them.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have larger suites that range for 30, 40, 50 people for
Mhm.
companies to grow into.
Yeah.
We had one company here in Williamsburg that isn't, shockingly, is an AI company. They were one of our first members. They started with 7 people. They ended up doubling in size, so they took a second office. Then they were going to end up going to a third office, but we ended up working through their hiring plan with them. Like we sat down with the CEO. We were like, walk us through your hiring plan. How
Mm.
quickly do you want to hire these team members? Where do you want them to sit? Do you want them
Yeah.
to be in individual offices? Do you want to be everyone together? What does your budget look like for office space as you scale the team? And
Yeah.
then we ended up building a plan and we put them into a suite where they were able to scale and grow in the suite and really be on this like pay per person method.
Got it.
so that they were never paying for too much space. Rolling
Uh,
back to that like initial thought, you don't want a CFO to look and be like, why do you have such why
right.
do you have such high overhead? So there's a ton of different ways that members can scale in our space. And it's really what we pride ourselves on.
Yeah. I love this and I've learned a lot from this. And one of the challenges that I face is talking to my clients who are landlords that own these office properties that are unwilling or maybe just not unaware, not educated enough to see where things are going. So what are some of the benefits? What are some of the ROI? What are some tools that if we've got some landlords and clients of mine that are listening right now, how would you approach talking to them
So
about why this is important?
So first and foremost, like the most important is getting the landlord to come into one of our
Mm,
spaces. Every time I'm looking at a building, if I go look at the building, I'm like, wow, there's actually opportunity here. I say to the landlord, I was like, you next step is you need to come to our space.
yeah.
You need to truly see what differentiates Mindspace from the other operators out there. And every time we've had a landlord walk through our space, they're like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like that you literally see this like light bulb go off and they're like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get to create this in my space? That's number one. Number two, I think the ROI is that landlords right now have a ton of vacancy
Hmm.
and they end up having to front a high fit out cost typically for one tenant and then they move whether depending on how long the lease is, but lease terms are shorter now, right?
Yep.
People aren't
Agreed.
signing 20-year
Agreed.
deals.
No.
So then they're like, all right, now they're stuck with this space. Someone's going to move out. Are they going to have to refit it out? How do they
Mm.
redesign it? All of a sudden, we come in, we work as a partner with the landlord. Maybe there's still a TI, upfront cost. There's free rent, of course, but they then come in. They let us design the space. They let us curate the space. They let us turn that empty, vacant space into an amenity
Mm.
for the building. A lot
Right.
of times, you look at
Right.
these buildings in San Francisco. We're at 575 Market Street and the building is probably 30-ish floors, maybe
Right.
higher. I'm not entirely, I'm forgetting right now. We have 3 floors and we're 97% occupied.
Wow.
But where we become an amenity for the building is that the other tenants in the building can come use our space for conference rooms. They could come ask, hey, like I'm doing an offsite with my executive team
Yeah.
and we're going to discuss confidential things that I don't want us doing on the 25th floor where other team members can see
Yeah.
we're all gathering.
Yeah.
Can we use a conference room downstairs with you where there's still Wi-Fi, printing, coffee,
Yeah.
hospitality, etc.? So all of a sudden we provide this like value to
Yes.
landlords. So when they're leasing out other space, oh, by the way, Mindspace is also here.
Yeah.
So if you need swing space at any point, they're a great partner for you to have.
100%. I love that. I love that. And I just hearing you vocalize that, to me, it makes perfect sense. And it honestly helps me as I talk to some of my landlords and
Yeah, of
clients
course.
about that we've got to start thinking differently, but it's not just TI dollars, right? I think that's what
No.
landlords get stuck on and they don't see it as a partnership. And I think to have those amenities for other tenants, gosh, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
You guys are in a few different cities in the United States right now. I'm curious because obviously I'm in the Colorado market, you're in New York. What's the tenant demand like between your different markets? What are you seeing?
In terms of what? From an occupancy perspective, from an industry
Yeah,
perspective, what do you mean?
I would say probably more from an occupancy and then also, and honestly, yeah, even from an industry perspective of what kinds of businesses are really starting to get it and
Yeah.
flock.
So we're at about 85% occupied across the US. New York and San Francisco and one of our Miami locations in Wynwood are all over 90% occupancy, which I'm super proud of the team.
Yeah.
They've worked really hard to get there
Yeah.
with like really strong desk rates, helping drive the business to become profitable. So our other locations all hover probably between 70 to 80, 86% occupancy, 85% occupancy. I am a very strong believer that like I don't want my buildings to be at 100% occupancy.
Yeah.
You need to have churn.
Yes.
If you don't have churn, it means A, you don't have room for members to grow, which is awful.
Yep.
And B, it means you're not charging enough. So you
Yeah.
have to find that right balance.
Yeah.
And then from an industry perspective, I would say the majority of our members are all probably in the AI tech world right now, outside of our DC location, where you have the majority of our members really being in this like political ecosystem, lobbyists, entrepreneurs, consultants, funding, things like that.
Yeah. Wow. This has been really informative, and I feel like we could
Amazing.
talk for a long time. But where do you see Mindspace going in the next 3 to 5 years?
I'd love for us to be such a good, it's like I want to, there's so much untapped potential. There's so much untapped potential and so much opportunity for Mindspace in the US. And I really want to see Mindspace US become the largest market for Mindspace globally. Right now, Germany is our largest market, followed by Israel and then the US. But I would love for us in the next 5 years to become the largest. And I think from an outside Mindspace perspective, I want us to be like a household name where people across the industry and in the real estate ecosystem like really know who
Yeah.
Mindspace is.
Yeah.
Landlords trust us as a strong, valued partner,
Yeah.
and entrepreneurs and corporate top 500 corporations are like, this is where I want
Yeah.
my company to be part of.
Yeah. I love that. So, what opportunities exist for brokers when we talk about integrating flex solutions into our offerings? This is what I'm very curious to hear.
We love brokers. We
Yeah.
love working with brokers. We can't do our job without you guys.
Yeah.
So we have an incredible broker referral program. We give 10% on the first year, 5% on years 2 and 3. We really pride ourselves on being transparent with the brokers. It's our job to work with you.
Yeah.
We want to make sure you have all the tools you need to help sell our space in the best way possible. You never have to worry about reaching out to find out if a member renewed or not. We have a dedicated person in the US who runs our enterprise and broker partnerships that has done an amazing job building these
Yeah.
relationships with some of the top brokers around the country. And it's how we've been able to scale the business. In fact, because of the relationships that we've built with some of these brokers, we were able to close our largest enterprise deal in the US to date back in April,
Wow.
where a large corporate 500 came and took an entire floor with us in one of our Miami locations.
Wow. That's awesome. How do you think, as you look towards the future, how do you think the company will continue to stay ahead of kind of the evolving market?
Amazing. So it's really funny you asked that, and you see my huge smile right now. One of the huge initiatives that we've been pushing this summer is really working with our site managers around the globe, combined with our city leads and our general managers and executives, of course, of really doing this whole like market competitor analysis exercise. And the whole point behind that is one, to figure out what our competition is doing differently
Mhm.
and like what we need to do better so that we can provide a good, incredible service to our members.
Yeah.
But two, how can we stay ahead of current market trends?
Yeah.
The black framing, the wood desk, they're dated. It's kind
Right.
of like we've evolved from the original WeWork model in 2011, 2012, 2013. We have high quality desks, great glass, great noise cancellation in between offices so you can have conversations and not hear your neighbors.
Yeah.
But we're ready for that next evolution. What does that real professional like ecosystem look like in the
Mhm.
co-working world?
Yeah.
And we're actually flying all of our general managers in 2 weeks to London to do a full like product workshop
Mm.
so that as we start expanding into our new locations, we can roll out kind of Mindspace 2.0.
Love that. Love that. Mark, thanks for being with us today. Where can people find you? Where can people find more information about Mindspace? We'll make sure we put it
Of
in the
course.
notes, but wanted to give you an opportunity to share where people can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again for having me. This is awesome. I can't believe it went 45 minutes.
I
I'm with you. We could talk about this for
yeah.
hours. So anyone that wants, I'm always on my phone for better or for worse. Shoot me an email. It's mark.g@mindspace.me. And if we can get you in for a trial day or you want to come see any of our spaces, let me know. And I'd love to
Yeah.
set up a tour for you. And of course, for being a listener and a subscriber, we'll of course provide a special discount to them. And then to really learn more, go to mindspace.me. We just launched a brand new website. We're really excited about the new brand that we've rolled out and excited to see you on the page.
Awesome. Hopefully, if things work out in the Colorado market, would love to work with you guys and
Yes.
see your name on a
Yes.
building somewhere and see that
Yes.
vision that you have for the growth come to life. And if you're ever here, give me a call and I'll look you up next
It
time I'm in
definitely
New
will.
York and your
Please come
time.
work out of our space.
That would be
Absolutely. Thank you so
amazing.
much, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
That's a wrap on this episode of Commercial Real Estate Unfiltered. I hope you found value in today's conversation and feel more confident about navigating the world of commercial real estate. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. You can connect with me, Caleb David, and the team at David Commercial Real Estate. Just check the show notes for more information. Thanks for listening, and remember, creating space is more than just real estate. It's about building community. See you next time.